Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day, thanks to viewers, supporters, and now sponsors just like you. And speaking of sponsors, this rundown is dedicated to Twisted Reverb, who has been a huge supporter for a long time and now is a sponsor, but also to his kick-ass girlfriend, Kelsey, who is Tip Top Celery 204. We love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting EPN. This rundown's all yours. Nintendo is crossing back into mobile gaming with a big new title later this week. The highly anticipated Animal Crossing Pocket Camp will hit iOS and Android devices worldwide this Wednesday, following a soft launch in Australia last month. Nintendo promises that the game will have the same level of customization and character interactions as the console Animal Crossing games, only with players managing their own campsite instead of an entire town. There's another key difference. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp is free to play, which means there will be in-game microtransactions. Players will be able to buy additional items and faster crafting times with real-life money, but because Nintendo has a sense of humor about it, the mascot for the microtransactions is the sleazy businessman Tom Nook. Nintendo revealed that they were making an Animal Crossing mobile game in early 2016 when they first embraced mobile game development, but it was put on hold to instead focus on other mobile projects like Super Mario Run and Fire Emblem Heroes. This one stands to be an even bigger success given the cutesy art style, which should resonate with more casual players. Nintendo plans to create add-ons and updates for Animal Crossing Pocket Camp well into the future. They're also rumored to be working on a new console Animal Crossing game for the Switch, but it doesn't have a release window yet. Sega has made a tactical decision to make something that fans are very excited for. In a surprise announcement, Sega has unveiled Valkyria Chronicles 4, an all-new game in their tactical RPG series. It will take place around the same time as the first game, but focus on a different group of new characters. The characters may be different, but the gameplay will be familiar. Sega is bringing back the Blitz battle system, which combines tactical RPG strategy with real-time third-person shooter gameplay, and the unique watercolor-style anime visuals will be back as well. Basically, it's a Valkyria Chronicles game, go figure. Although there have been several recent spin-offs, like this year's Valkyria Revolution, Valkyria Chronicles 4 will be the first title in the main series since the third game was released back in 2011. It's coming to the PS4 and Xbox One, as well as the Nintendo Switch, making it the first Valkyria game on the system. It launches in Japan in spring 2018 and will get a worldwide release the same year, although Sega hasn't said how much extra time the worldwide release will take. And speaking of long-awaited sequels, the Marvel characters aren't the only superheroes that Disney has to work with. Disney and Pixar have released the first teaser trailer for The Incredibles 2, a sequel to their 2004 animated superhero movie. It doesn't give too much away, just teases some of the superpowers possessed by the youngest member of the heroic Parr family, the baby, Jack.
You have powers! Yeah, baby!
The biggest takeaway from this trailer is that the new film will take place shortly after the events of the original movie, with all the characters being the same age, despite the fact that it's been more than 13 years since the original came out. The Incredibles 2 is something we've been waiting for.
Well, what are you waiting for?
I don't know, something amazing, I guess.
Not only do we love the original, but this seems like the perfect time for a sequel. One of the things that made the original so incredible is how it satirized and poked fun at the silly tropes of the superhero genre, and that will seem all the more relevant today given the even greater prevalence of superhero movies.
I'm still geeking out about it.
This also marks the return of writer-director Brad Bird, making this his first animated movie in more than a decade after a pair of live-action projects. It comes out in June. Another team of superheroes are having a little trouble connecting with audiences. The long-awaited Justice League movie finally hit theaters on Friday, but had a disappointing opening weekend. It made about $96 million domestically, which is below what the studio was hoping, and is the worst opening for any movie in the new DC cinematic universe. That means solo outings like 2013's Man of Steel and this year's Wonder Woman actually did better, and this also means that Justice League pales in comparison to the opening weekends of Marvel's Avengers movies. Looking ahead, these numbers indicate that Justice League could have a hard time earning back its estimated $300 million production budget. This is disappointing, but doesn't come as too big a surprise. The DC movies in general, with the exception of the critically praised Wonder Woman, have seen diminishing returns, with both Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad starting strong, but dropping significantly more than other films in their second and third weeks. This creates a stigma around the DC movies, making it less likely for audiences to want to see future entries. The good news is that Justice League is doing a little better internationally, earning an additional $185 million in foreign markets. Looking ahead, DC and Warner Brothers have a chance to turn things around. As the success of Wonder Woman demonstrates, they just have to start making better films.
That's rude.
It looks like all the negative publicity surrounding Star Wars Battlefront 2 has taken its toll. The first sales figures for the new game have come in and they don't look good. According to GamesIndustry.biz, Battlefront 2 physical sales in the UK are down a whopping 61% compared to the last Battlefront game.
Never tell me the odds.
Keep in mind that these are just physical sales. The game might be doing better digitally, especially given how downloads are getting more popular, and these figures are also just from the UK. We don't have numbers yet for the rest of the world. Still, the 61% drop in physical sales doesn't bode well and could indicate a broader drop in sales overall. This would almost certainly be a result of the negative publicity surrounding the game. An unprecedented number of players complained that the microtransactions, loot box mechanics, and progression system were broken and were basically an excuse to get players to spend extra money.
I'm in it for the money.
EA made several big changes leading up to the launch in a desperate bid to satisfy players before suspending in-game purchases altogether mere hours before launch. In a statement, EA admits that they should have listened to fans sooner, but behind the scenes, it might have actually been someone else who forced their hand. Several reports have surfaced that Star Wars owner Disney forced EA to remove the microtransactions, apparently angry about all the negative publicity the story was creating around the Star Wars franchise. If the sales of Battlefront 2 really have taken a dive, it means that suspending the microtransactions didn't help, but we'll let you know when new sales figures come in. And the latest Star Wars movie has taken the franchise's first steps into a larger world, or at least a longer one. Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, clocks in at 2.5 hours, making it the longest Star Wars movie ever. Writer-director Rian Johnson has confirmed the news himself, adding that Disney and Lucasfilm gave him plenty of freedom to tell the story the way he wanted, and it all came together organically. I guess that means the film will have a lot of story to tell. Typically, big studios prefer their movies to come in closer to the 2-hour mark because a shorter runtime allows more showings per day, but when it comes to a big movie like Star Wars, it's probably going to make a huge load of money regardless. Rian Johnson has already begun developing an even bigger Star Wars project for Disney. He's set to create an entire new spin-off trilogy of films that will take place in a new corner of the Star Wars galaxy. He'll direct the first installment and possibly the follow-ups as well, but don't expect to hear any official new details about those films until after The Last Jedi is released. It hits theaters on December 15th. And that wraps up the rundown for today. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow with a brand new episode. But in the meantime, check out some of the other content that we've been making. And if you dig it, hit subscribe, that little bell, and if you're so inclined, that sponsorship button too.